rock and roll band. It's a free for all. Bam! Yeah, it's free for all.
The weather outside might be frightful, but the free-for-all is always so delightful. Look at Coach Free. He really likes that.
I'm just impressed that you just snapped right onto that.
Thank you. I thought about it for a couple of days leading up to our podcast today. Anyway, welcome back to the show, everybody. My name is MJ, not Jordan nor Jackson. It's Baird, KFDX3 sports reporter, alongside the man I always look up to. I put a smile on his face from the get-go today. He's the Burnett CISD athletic director. However, he's home from school today because, well, snow across the state of Texas. It's Grant Freeman. Coach Free, how are you?
Hey, what's up? I'm tired of being in this townhome. I know that.
Heard. I'm tired of being in my apartment as well because no sports means MJ doesn't have much to do at work. The man in the middle, the WFISD multimedia specialist, the voice of Memorial Stadium with a nice, beautiful Texas Rangers hat on today. It's Mr. Chad Johnson. What's going on?
They should bring this logo back.
I love that logo.
At least the hat part of it.
Beautiful.
Two things I've noticed so far. MJ is not in uniform. Grant and I both wearing Adidas.
Colombia.
MJ is wearing...
Yeah, and I'm not even supposed to be in Adidas.
That's right. What is the logo on your shirt there? Is that
Roar.
Quinnipiac?
That's the Quinnipiac Bobcats.
Quinnipiac.
Okay.
Yeah, no doubt.
And also, out of school, off work, working from home, watching a lot of TV. I didn't figure I'd be the only one wearing a hat today. MJ always has a hat on, and not today.
I had a work luncheon to attend today.
As I was at that same luncheon with a hat on.
You had a hat on?
Yes.
I didn't even notice that, to be honest with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is one of, I need to do another count. I believe I'm up to 24 Rangers hats. So
I like that one.
That's like one every day for the month.
yeah.
Okay, we'll get into Chad's hat collection, I guess, over the summer.
I need to take a picture of it. I take a picture about once a year. I need to take an updated one.
Yeah, we'll get it on the show when we start talking Rangers baseball, which,
That's
as
right.
we know, Coach Free is not ready to do, especially on the 28th of January. Let me thank our sponsor here on the show, Macaulay
Grant
Landscapes.
is pumped because they just traded for Mackenzie Gore. Grant texted me and was pumped when they made that trade.
No, he wasn't. Coach Free, please deny that.
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, he's a pitcher, exactly. Anyway, Macaulay Landscapes, proudly serving Wichita Falls and proudly serving the Free-for-All podcast for over 2 decades. Well, Wichita Falls for over 2 decades, the Free-for-All for however long we've been a show, 84 episodes. Lawn care, landscaping, irrigation, repair, so much more. Visit them online, MacaulayLandscapes.com. That's MCCAULEY Landscapes.com. Or pick up the phone. Give them a call, 940-632-5346. Anything you need, Patrick and his guys can get you helped out.
Patrick stays plenty busy already, but Patrick should get him a couple of snow blades, whatever you want to call them, plows, and he could have another little business going for Macaulay Landscapes.
I'll tell you what, a lot of landscapers up north, that is what they do in the winter. Mm-hmm. They're landscapers in the summer, they're plows in the winter. Coach Free's like, no.
So have you and Jackson built any snowmen, Grant?
So we didn't have snow. We had straight ice.
Straight
I mean,
ice.
it was loud. Like here's what's crazy is it was crazy the night that it hit, like, bad, because the window, like, right by my bed faces north, and I'm on the second story of my townhome here, like where my bedroom is, and it sounded like a hailstorm hitting my window all night long. It was wild, and people down here had no idea what was going on because it was about 3 inches of straight ice for 72 hours.
We had the ice followed by the snow,
Yes.
so there's a good sheet of ice underneath the snow as the snow starts melting. So
Yeah, exhibited perfectly.
We never got snow.
Our meteorologist here skated to work from his apartment the other day. That just goes to show.
made
you.
NHL Network.
He did. Made national headlines.
That's awesome.
Was that like his dream to make NHL Network?
It sounded like it based on his tweet, but I don't think he skated to work with the intention of getting on NHL Network. I think he skated to work with the intention of saying, hey, I'm going to be able
Why
to tell
not?
this story for the
Yeah.
rest of my life.
Why not?
And then it kind of blew up a little bit, so that was pretty cool.
Why didn't you and him have a little hockey game going on outside?
We did a couple years ago, and we had that ice storm in 2021, but my skates are actually back in Massachusetts nowadays.
If it stays any longer, I think Legacy and Memorial are going to start some ice hockey teams.
Hey, I'm glad that I'm not a part of that. Starting the UIL sport is not. I'm out on that.
Well, I don't think hockey.
Good luck.
I don't think hockey would fall under UIL because I don't think they play UIL hockey.
No.
But I think it's more of a club type
Still,
thing. But
I don't ever want to buy new jerseys, new startup ever again.
Yeah, been there, done that, certainly. This is episode 84 of the podcast, gentlemen. Some wide receivers in the NFL surely come to mind. Who do you think of, Coach Free, when you think of 84?
The one, the only, the second greatest of all time, Randy Moss.
Randy Moss. I talked about him a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and we talked about the number 81, just because that's what he wore in New England. But I think I caveated that statement at the time, saying we'll talk about him again in 3 weeks because certainly better known for 84.
It's crazy when you look at some of these guys that you associate with one number, but then they went and played for X team or whatever for a year or two, and they wore a different number.
Right. Any other 84s on your mind, Chad?
I've got a couple here that I figured would I kind of figured Grant would have this one. Jay Novacek.
Yeah, I did. Again, I really liked Jay Novacek. I actually met him at a golf tournament. Awesome guy. When I was a head golf coach at Springtown, his daughter played golf kind of in that district that I was in, and he would walk around. And so he would walk around and follow her. And so I just let him ride in the golf cart with me because they wouldn't let anybody but coaches have the golf carts. And I mean, he was Jay Novacek. So I was like, hey, man, like, you can just ride with me if you want to. Like, I'll follow your daughter around. I don't care. And so he and I got to hang out a little bit. I've got a couple of signed golf balls by him. Like, one of my favorites of all time, obviously 90s Cowboys, but super nice guy, cowboy, like just really down-to-earth kind of guy.
He seems like one of those guys that would be. I mean, the Cowboys they've had some tight ends, man. I mean, before Jason Witten.
He lives right outside of Glen Rose.
Okay.
Still maintains a ranch out there.
Wasn't he a Wyoming Cowboy, I believe? I could be wrong on that.
I don't know the answer to that, but I know he was really big.
The other Cowboy, 84, back when the Cowboys had training camp in Wichita Falls, never spoke to the media, refused to speak to the media, was almost rude to the media, and is now a part of the media, Joey Galloway.
Joey Galloway.
And the Sharp brothers.
Shannon
The one
and
I
Sterling?
see you have one on here, MJ, and I actually saw it looking him up as well. It was crazy. Chris Webber wore 84 with the Pistons.
I didn't know where he wore it, but he came up on the list. Yeah.
Can I say this, though? And Chad, I want you to jump in here because you'll remember this. MJ might not. I really think Sterling Sharp was on a path to be better than Shannon. Like, he was one of those all-timers
100%.
until his injury.
100%.
I thought he was great.
And I believe he got injured and was retired the year before the Packers won that Super Bowl, Favre's win, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So he did not actually win a Super Bowl.
Sterling
was legit, man. He was a small. It's funny because he was a smaller. I mean, he was a true wide receiver, smaller guy, whereas Shannon Sharp was the bigger tight end. But both great hands.
Shannon's in the Hall of Fame, right?
Yes.
I believe Shannon said in his Hall of Fame speech something along those lines, like, "I wish this was my brother. He was actually better than me."
No, I didn't know. I mean, it was always Sterling Sharp for me. I didn't know who Shannon was until later.
Yeah.
Like, he kind of had a longevity thing. But Sterling he went toe to toe with those 90s Cowboys. Like, so you'd see him all the time, but he was really good.
His run was short. 88 to 94 was kind of his dominant. And he was elected in the Hall of Fame last year. Sterling was.
Yeah.
Okay. So it must have been like maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, because Shannon's been in a while. Shannon may have been a first ballot. But like Sterling only played 7 seasons, but in those 7 seasons, he was a 5-time Pro Bowler.
Wow. Incredible.
So
Incredible.
Back when the Pro Bowl mattered.
You're saying it doesn't matter now?
I'm sure we'll get into it.
Well, we can absolutely do that. One other 84 that is on the list that we can just skate right over, but probably needs to be mentioned. Antonio Brown wore 84.
And we did miss Herman Moore. Herman Moore,
Pittsburgh
excellent
Steelers.
receiver for the Lions back in the Barry Sanders days.
While we're talking football, let me just take a moment to inform our listeners that the Patriots are back, baby! Drake May is him. The Pats are in the Super Bowl against Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks. MJ Baird is in absolute heaven.
Congrats to the Pats. Great defense. They played some great defenses through their playoff run. And I'm not taking anything away from them, but that was a terrible football game on Sunday.
We're in the Super Bowl, though.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from them, but also for all those people that say that game shouldn't have been played in the snow, the first half was just as terrible before it started snowing. That game wasn't bad because of the weather. It was just wasn't a good football game.
Shout out, by the way, Greg Davis, fellow Patriots fan, fist bump. Yes, sir. Coach Free, what are your thoughts on the Pats?
So specifically to the Pats, this is one of those deals that reminds me a lot of 2001. Probably a year early, maybe a couple years early, but you got all the way there, so you might as well just win it. Now, again, the Seahawks are not the greatest show on turf Rams, who had previously won the Super Bowl.
Sure.
But I do think that there were some deficiencies in the AFC, and you cannot punish the Pats for playing the teams in front of them and improving the way that they did. And I really thought that not only were they well coached, but they were timely. They didn't blow people out. They weren't just amazing, but they were timely in everything that they did. I was shocked, and I'm screaming at the TV. Why were we not running? Why were you guys not running Drake May more? It was literally the only thing, and they did not prepare for it. I'm not sure. Quarterback draws, bootlegs, called design runs. It was there the whole night. They didn't spy him at all. Like, it was wild. And to hear that he called the bootleg on his own was shocking to me, because it was open tons of times. But this is so reminiscent of the 2001 team. And I know MJ, like that, you'll be able to speak a little bit better on that, but it just reminds me of them so much.
So, Grant, we've talked a lot about, your coaching philosophy in the first half, take the points.
Always.
Sean Payton didn't take the points, and really that ended up being the difference in the game.
At least it could have forced overtime if they had made it.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, and again, I'm not saying that my philosophy is right.
Sure.
It's the philosophy that worked for me.
Sure.
But don't you, when you're in a situation when you've got a backup quarterback that's starting his first game of the year, you got a chance to go up. I mean, at that point, they're up 7-0. You got a chance to go up 10-0, and it was a terrible play call, I thought. But anyway, I don't know. I think and normally I'm kind of leaning more towards you guys a lot, MJ, where the go for it more often than not. But man, right there, that just looked like the perfect opportunity to get the points.
I think
I just always in the first half take the points. Then you can figure out the other stuff in the second half.
I think the game is what it is now, in the sense of, like, if you don't go for that and you lose the game, that's what's looked back upon. And that's not how it used to be. If you don't go for that and you take the 3 and you still go on to lose, then it's like, well, you had a chance.
Now, I will say in Peyton's defense, too, I still think it was the wrong call, but I will say in Peyton's defense, that first drive, Stidham took him right down the field and scored a touchdown.
I'm on the record as saying I liked them going.
And I think if that was still in the first quarter, too, as well, wasn't it? If not, it was early second quarter. It's, they were moving the ball. So there is something to be said for, it's a young quarterback and this and that. But at the time, I don't know that at the time you thought they were only going to score 7 points.
Well, let's be real careful. So moving down the field and one 50-plus yard play on a total blown coverage is two totally different things, which was the only thing that they got, because Christian Gonzalez was in cover 2, clearly thought he had help over the top and to the inside, and clearly the safety was not on the same page as him. Total busted coverage on the one play that took up the entire chunk of those yards. But let's say this. I just... Too many times coaches outthink themselves, and you're going to get criticized no matter what side of this you end up on. But take that piece of the thinking out of it. Just make it automatic. Like, that's why I did it, because that's why I did it that way. I didn't have to think until the second half. If we were in the scoring zone, then score. If we're not, then move on. It totally changes the way that the Patriots call the game on offense and defense if you're up 10-0 there.
Sure.
And, again, like, coaches are criticized all the time about the decisions they make. But Too many times we rely on analytics, or we're sitting here, hindsight being 2020 with analytics, the only the percentage of going for it on fourth down as opposed to kicking the field goal probably wasn't a high percentage anyways. Like we're probably talking about less than 40% difference maker there anyways. So like I don't understand why we just hammer on these guys for choosing analytics when generally like even the analytics side of it is maybe at best 40%.
You're saying like 60-40 one the other way? What's
Yeah,
better?
success rate. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
you're not talking about a huge difference
Sure.
in like enough that would sway me from coming off of my philosophy.
And I mean, analytics aren't accounting for that game turning into a snowstorm in the second half.
Or the emotions on the field or the players or
Yeah.
what's going on, the momentum
Sure,
swing
yeah.
right there. That's why, I mean, they're great to look at and have as a factor, but they should not be the end all be all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And everybody that criticizes coaches based on analytics is doing so in hindsight. They already know what has happened, whether that play was successful or not, and that's bullcrap. You have to make that decision before you know if it's successful or not.
Can I say one thing that came out in that game that makes me I didn't know I was 100% in agreement with Grant until Sunday.
Okay.
The Stidham pass that was originally ruled incomplete, and they reviewed it and called it a fumble and gave the ball to the Pats. I've always kind of liked the rules analysts, but that right there was the perfect example of because when they called it an incompletion, Sterator completely agreed with them. When they changed it to a fumble, Sterator completely agreed with them.
And
it's either or, right?
What are they up there for?
Right. I
Yeah,
mean, it's either or.
they're
I mean,
crap.
that's where I like I say, I've always kind of liked them, but after hearing that the other day and kind of listening to it a little bit more, I'm like, what are we doing, man?
this is a play just for reference, by the way.
But I'm just like,
They're not gonna criticize one of their own. They refuse to do it.
by the way, I thought that was a forward pass, but
I went back and kind of watched this and listened to it as I was cutting this play. I'm not saying you're wrong. I think probably more likely my take on it is Sterator was like, here is what the officials on the field called. And then when it got changed, he's like, here's what the officials called. I want his opinion.
that's what I want to hear a little more of. I want
Right.
to hear a little more what's the process they're going
Yes.
through. But I also want to hear not only that, I want to hear his opinion.
Yes,
you know?
agreed.
And I go back to, the Des caught it thing, and that was, when kind of rules analysts were at their best, if you will. Mike Pereira in fact, I think Sterator was the referee of that game. Before they ever made a call after the review or during the review, Pereira said they're going to change this call. And that was back when maybe he wasn't disagreeing with it, but he point blank called it, and they come out and they changed the call. And you don't get a lot of that anymore.
It's like a color commentator who won't commit, right?
Right.
Like you want the color commentator who most likely has been there, done that. You want their view of it.
It's like, to give your example, it's like baseball and basketball color analysts that work for the teams.
Sure.
That are very, very careful not to criticize a player because they get their paycheck.
They got to get
signed
on
by the
that
same
team bus
people.
and that team playing
Exactly.
with them.
Yeah, that's the worst.
So it's
The
kind of,
worst.
to me, it's kind of the same thing.
Sure. Yeah. I don't like it. I agree in the sense of I want to hear what he thinks. I don't need him to tell me what the referees just called.
I also want to go something like, was it the ACC that this year did where you could hear the reviews, hear what was going on with the
It was
reviews?
the ACC.
I
Soccer
love
does
that.
that.
I mean, let's bring that in. I think they do it in the UFL.
International
as a
soccer.
fan, I want to hear what's going on. Let me know what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are they looking at? What are they seeing? What are they, I think it takes a lot of the, like, why it was changed, whether you agree with it or
It's
not.
the transparency.
Yes.
It's transparency to why the decision was made.
Yeah, it's like I think I don't know if it's MLS, not MLS, Premier League specifically or not, but European soccer. I see the videos all the time. It's like, okay, here's what the referee on the field called. You literally hear him microphoning up to his refs in the booth, and yeah, it might be 4 or 5 minutes of them going back and forth, but that's compelling, isn't it?
Yes, it's more compelling than hearing Romo and Sterator debate nothing.
Well, yeah, because they don't know yet. Like they're trying to make educated guesses. Romo's like, well, it must have been that they said that this because of that, and then we get a new angle that shows like that wasn't even the case. It's just like it's speculation for no reason.
And we're talking
I was
about
gonna
that
say,
specific play,
it
but
goes-
this is every play.
Yeah, it goes back to they don't want to A, criticize one of their own, or B, they don't want to then be aggregated on social media because they got something wrong. Like that, they're so scared to have an opinion now, and they're so scared to jump out and be first because they'd rather get paid millions of dollars to sit there and just be neutral.
Sure. Unfortunate, but some of the most renowned commentators are ones who, I guess you could say, probably like Troy Aikman, are willing to not care what people think and tell it how they think it is. Some people will respect
But that's
it.
why they got hired, because they
Yes.
have an opinion. I just don't get it.
You know, you're exactly right. To me, you know, Buck and Aikman take a lot of heat. They're the best in the business. But also, while we're talking about announcers, I know Romo's taking a lot of heat, and I'm not a Romo fan. I think he's gotten terrible. But on the other side of that, your boy Brady, he's turned into a hell of an analyst.
Better than he started.
Not that
He was
that's any
atrocious.
surprising, I don't think. But
No, of course, but he was not good when he first got up there. Very bad, in fact.
But to give your Patriots the flowers, you know, what was it? The number 2 defense, the number 4 defense, and the number 5 defense they played in the playoffs.
Sure,
I mean, winning ugly, but they still won the games.
they did.
You know, I mean,
Now they got to win one more against Sam. Okay? Hear me out here. Hear me out. I was on the record all college football playoff run long about my thoughts on Indiana and were they really good? Is Seattle really good? Do you know what I'm saying?
I don't think either of these teams are really good.
Now that's an
Hey.
argument I might buy.
hey, your own Channel 3 sports reporter, Parker Hollandoner, I believe, has the Seahawks as 2 touchdown favorites.
Yeah, that's just ludicrous.
Which is idiotic.
Vegas doesn't even have that.
Here's
Vegas has Seattle by like 4.
I mean, you know, and you brought up Indiana. I'd put Darnold right there in that category.
That's what I'm saying.
Darnold's won 28 games in the last 2 years.
And still, people like me, not just because I'm a Patriots fan, I think this is probably more of a general thought, is like, no, they can't be legit, right?
Man, I don't know. Once again, that defense is salty.
Very good.
And you
Both
know,
teams, Pats and Seattle, the defense is much better than the offense.
I mean, and the Seahawks have Smith in Jigba.
Yep. JSN.
They've got some decent running backs. I would say Darnold's put up decent numbers, but he did turn the ball over a lot this year.
Tell
But
you,
these-
Darnold, he's got a really good story as far as being drafted by a cruddy team, being bad, going to another cruddy team, being bad, and then getting on a good team and being good.
Well, and he's talked about it a lot because, you know, 2 years ago before the Vikings signed him, and the Vikings signed him to be a backup to McCarthy. Then McCarthy got hurt. But he talks a lot about he spent at least a year, if not 2 years, in San Francisco as Brock Purdy's backup and barely played. But he talked about how that was a big reset for his career, to actually go to a good team and to see teams that put their quarterbacks in situations to win ball games after being a Jet and then a Panther. It was kind of a reset for him, you know, and to go to Minnesota last year and like I say, was supposed to be the backup. McCarthy got hurt and then wins 14 games. And then to go to Seattle and probably for the first time since he was a Jet and be the established, no questions asked starting quarterback and to win 14 games again.
So a coach that worked for me, his son was in the draft class with Sam Darnold to the Jets. So he played offensive lineman.
Sorry
He was
about
with
that.
the Longhorns and Auburn, and he just raved about Sam Darnold and his physical skills, just that he threw the ball like he had never seen. I mean, and just some amazing attributes. But he also, on the second hand, talked about how poor that Jets organization was. Of course, that was Adam Gase at that time, I believe.
Joke.
I mean, it was an absolute joke of an organization.
Still is.
And all of that to say this, I think this is one of those years where we get a stinker of a Super Bowl. I just do. I think it's one of those stinker Super Bowls. And because I really don't think that either team is just overly amazing. I think it was just kind of the way that the NFL worked out this year. But I just think it's one of those stinker Super Bowls that is, you're watching the commercials by the second quarter only.
It's got to be better than the AFC title game was.
AFC title game was fun to watch because it was a snowstorm.
Yeah, it was a
Football wise, it was not
great.
Very good.
What did Ben say? 3 and out punt, 3 and out punt, 3 and out punt.
Yes.
So listen. So we talked. So just to give a perspective here for Sam Darnold, which Sam Darnold was the number 3 overall pick in the draft. First of all, Dante Moore chose to go back to Oregon. Now, granted, they get paid now. Chose to go back to Oregon over potentially being drafted by the Jets.
Do you blame him?
No. In the 2018 draft, quarterback wise, who's the first quarterback to make a Super Bowl? Sam Darnold. Well, who was in that draft? Baker Mayfield went 1 overall.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen was in that draft. Lamar Jackson was in that draft. And also a guy by the name of, I think he's selling insurance now, a guy by the name of Josh Rosen.
Okay, so I'm happy you brought up the name. Does that just go to really further the point? What if Josh Rosen was the one who went to the Jets and was terrible, and then went to Carolina and was terrible? But then what if he was the one who sat behind Purdy, and then he was the one who went to Minnesota?
And Rosen kind of got screwed because, the Cardinals took him 10 overall. Well, then I think they changed their coaching staff. I believe that's when they brought Kingsbury in.
Okay.
Well, Kingsbury wanted to go with Murray, so they traded him to Miami. So 1 year, and they decided, okay, this isn't the route we want to take.
Crazy.
Well, he goes to Miami. I think they have a coaching change and decide, well, we want to put all of our eggs in the Tua basket. And so Rosen never really got a chance there either. So
you always hear me say that organizations fail quarterbacks more than quarterbacks fail organizations. Josh Rosen failed whoever he was playing for. He was bad. I'm sorry. He was bad.
But the Jets failed Sam Darnold. Let's say that.
100%. But Josh Rosen was bad.
You know who else got failed this week? Just yesterday. This man on my screen. If you're listening to us, up on the screen is a picture of the one and only Bill Belichick, who just got absolutely screwed by the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He was up for first ballot Hall of Fame. He needed 40 of 50 votes. Didn't get it.
And this is reportedly right now. There is no official to this because the actual Hall of Fame vote doesn't come out till next week.
He didn't make it.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that there's nothing been officially announced yet.
So, Coach Free, I need you to explain.
They better revote.
You need to explain to me why, in your possible knowledge of football and the game and the sport and the history, what reason could you possibly come up with why Bill Belichick's not a first ballot Hall of Famer?
So here's the thing I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to preface this. This is one of those, you just stuck the microphone in my face after a game, and I don't have an answer for you. So I'm going to make one up as best as I can.
What does that say, Chad?
Okay.
That is the reason.
Oh, that says Spygate.
I mean, whether you agree with it or not, that right there is the reason that he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Coach Free, tell me what you got.
Yeah, so the only thing I can think of is some of the question marks surrounding some of that stuff there. And then I think it's what have you done for me lately? How bad he looks right now, like so with bad. The last 3 years the last 3 years of his life have been bad, like poor decision making, very poor PR, just very, very poor overall. Yeah. That's the only answer I can give. But the fact that the winningest by Super Bowl, like the second winningest coach, other than Don Shula, and he would have passed Don Shula had he stayed in the NFL, all-time winningest, definitely most Super Bowls 6. By far, like not even a close margin 6 by far, is not a first team, not a first ballot Hall of Famer. Just absolutely poo-poos that Hall of Fame. I'm sorry.
Not great. And Chad brought up a good point. Like the man's getting in, but it's kind of really a slap in the face to him, obviously, but to the committee of people, right? Like there's only 50 folks who have a Pro Football Hall of Fame vote. You only need 40 of the 50 to get in. So you're telling me 11 people didn't vote for this man on his resume?
So me being such a big baseball fan, I guess I'm not. I know football does theirs completely different, but I guess I'm not as shocked by this because you go back and look at Hall of Fame voting for baseball, and there's only been one player in baseball history that was ever a unanimous vote, and that was Mariano Rivera. I mean, when you have sports writers with egos that, I'm going to keep so-and-so
out. Is it the sports writers? I'm unclear on who votes for this.
So in football, there's 50, and I believe I looked at it, every team has a newspaper outlet, or I say newspaper outlet, has one news outlet that's a voter, and then there's 10 other. I don't know if you call them at large or what the actual title is, but you have 10 others, like Tony Dungy's one. I don't remember all of them, but every market has one that's a media person, and then there's others. So
I'm going to open up a can of worms here whenever I ask this question.
Okay.
And Lord help us all. When did we decide that sports writers were the best judge of who should go into a Hall of Fame?
It's a good question. I have no idea. As long as I've known how it works, they have been involved, though.
I say in baseball, that's it. I mean, now they have like veterans committees and all that kind of stuff now that come on later for people that were overlooked. And now baseball, it's a bigger process. There's like, I don't know, 400 ballots or something like that that goes out.
And this is not a, MJ, I want you to hear me say this. This is not a knock on that.
Sure.
But there are things that even you and I talk about on this podcast, like that opens the window into understanding things about what we do as coaches and within a sport that you don't know that even comes from me at the high school level. Why would we want people who don't have all of that information to be the decision makers in telling? I believe Hall of Fames are there to tell the story of the sport.
Right.
Like these things happen that you could not tell the story of the sport without.
Sure.
For example, I feel like Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire and Roger Clemens should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame, Pete Rose, because I don't think you can tell the story of the sport without them. I cannot believe that you would not put Bill Belichick in, because I believe his story in the sport is that important to tell the story of the sport.
Well, and let's be clear, like I said earlier, I mean, it's really more of a caddy thing that these guys are like, we're going to hold him out for 1 year as a punishment.
Yeah.
Belichick's getting in next year. I mean, I don't think there's any question he's getting in next year. Now, the questions that started rising, and I wonder, and I didn't know this, I guess they just changed the rule a couple of years ago, because I thought you had to be out for 5 years. Well, they changed the rule that coaches could get in immediately.
Yeah.
It's because they're all staying coaching too old.
Right. And I also wondered, and obviously I was wrong in this, before I started reading some of the Spygate questions and stuff like this, since he never has officially retired, does that play a factor in it? It doesn't, obviously. Yeah. But
I think the thing that plays a factor more so than that is the way that he treated the media during that time, if the media is who is voting on it.
Oh, 100%.
And I think, that's a choice that he made. But again, you can't deny the numbers and the actual product that he put on the field during all of that run. Well, now, you can question some of the stuff about him, especially recently. You can question all of that. That's fair game. But again, what the product and what he did, I don't know how you question that as a first ballot Hall of Famer. And there shouldn't be another coach that goes in on the first ballot ever, if that's the case.
And once again, apples and oranges. But, back in the old days of the Baseball Hall of Fame, which that's changed a little bit, there's still people that are caddy on there that won't vote for somebody just out of principle. But, I mean, there's been point-blank news writers that have point-blank said, I'm not voting for so-and-so as a punishment in his first year because he didn't treat me well.
Terrible.
And then
I need clarification, Chad. Are you saying like caddy, like cats, like ring, 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 ring? Or are you saying like, I kept thinking you were talking about caddy, like a golf caddy? I was like, okay.
Catty.
Okay.
Like they got their feelings hurt because they were disrespected. So I was disrespected, so I'm going to punish
Take their vote away. Then,
I
if
agree.
they can't do it unemotionally, then take their vote away.
I agree.
Like they shouldn't have a vote if that's the way they're gonna vote. Like not like that is totally biased, and
it's nuts.
So I get out of here with that.
And I honestly thought football did theirs in a like closed room setting. I thought they had their finalists, and then I thought the voters got in together in like a closed room setting and voted for somebody. I didn't realize that it was a balloted vote.
Yeah, and they don't release them publicly. They don't have to.
And I think that's crazy. I think that's crazy in every sport. If you're going to be a Hall of Fame voter, then you should be required to publicly poll your vote.
So I found this on Twitter. I don't know the validity of it, but it looks pretty legit to me. Someone just compiled all of the voters, who they are, and then the yellows would be, yes, those people confirmed that they voted for Belichick. Now, you don't have to confirm it to anybody. It's not part of the rules. But, like, for example, okay, like Vic Carucci, he represents Buffalo. This is going back to what Chad said. All 32 teams have a representative as a voter. He told whoever that he, yes, voted for Belichick. Whereas Darren Gantz, who represents the Panthers, He didn't say that he didn't vote for Belichick. He just didn't confirm it. Does that make sense? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You go to the next page, 11, 12. Looks like 13 of these voters have confirmed to whoever published this. I should probably get his name, so I give.
So I want you to look at this, though.
I'll go back in a second. Confirmed to Ollie Connolly that they did, in fact, vote for Belichick. So, I don't know, 13. But here's the thing. Chad said something earlier about, like, unanimous vote, too, and I'll bring that back up here in a second. It doesn't have to be unanimous.
No.
It's got to be 40 out of 50. And I just find it crazy. Like, did 11 people conspire to stick it to Belichick, or was this happenstance?
So go back to that for just a second, because I want to tell you one problem that I noticed with it. And this is just...
I can tell you a couple of other
so
ones,
I
too.
see 1, 2, 3. Go to the other page.
Hang on.
4. There are at least 4 votes. Now, I know that's not that many, but there's at least 4 votes that beside their name says retired. If they're not even a current media member, then get out of here.
Interesting.
And then there's also like 4 or 5 Talk of Fame network. What the crap is that thing? It's not even good enough to have a national, like, get this out of here. This is a joke.
Go to the other one because I want to see who the at-large ones are.
Tony Dungy's at large. He obviously works for NBC.
So
now.
the no is not a no; it's a not confirmed.
Correct. Either they didn't elect to respond to this person who asked, or they don't want to say, or for whatever reason they feel like they cannot say.
Gotcha.
Yep. The N is not that you did not vote for Belichick.
And again, you can tell me more. You two understand this more, but I know they have to be associated with somebody. Talk of Fame network, broadcaster, random Hall of Fame, serious. I mean, come on, guys.
See, for baseball, there's not a. Now, and that's why there's so many of them. For baseball, you have to be a member of the Baseball Writers Association.
Raiders.com. Come on.
samsportsline.com.
But like I say, for baseball, you have to be
Fox 59, CBS 4. Get out of here.
Let's say for baseball, you have to be a member of the Baseball Writers Association, and that's why they have so many of them.
If I was a voter, mine would say KFDX. So watch it with the call letters there, Coach Free.
But that's what I'm saying. I just like, again, why are these people represent? I don't
know how you get chosen. I don't know. What I do know is
there needs to be something that's representative of the actual game.
And
like,
see, and who picks it?
That's a joke.
And who picks it? Like the Cowboys, the Cowboys market is represented by Rick Gosselin. Rick Gosselin, I don't even know if Rick Gosselin is still writing articles for Dallas Morning News or not. I mean, he's been around forever.
He's not. It showed that he was one of the Talk
of Fame.
Talk of Fame network, like some made up bullcrap network. Like, get these people out of here.
It's interesting though. Like, okay, this is gonna sound biased because he works for us, adjacent for Nexstar. Mickey Spagnola, right? He's covered the Cowboys for 42 years or whatever. He works for the Dallas Cowboys. Is that more legit than the Talk of Fame network that you haven't heard of?
Yes.
Mickey never played.
If you're going to use media, they should be relevant media to the team. Like, relevant media to the team, or national broadcasting media, which carries everybody's stuff, which has got to be unbiased.
I'd rather see, if it's the Cowboys, I'd rather see shout out Dick Eatman voting for the Cowboys.
So there's one guy, and I couldn't remember his name, so I'm going to look again. Who was it? No, that's not it. Next page. No, can't find it. Okay, there was somebody they said.
And again,
who, like, they were asked, and they said, I can't remember if I voted for Belichick. Like, what?
It was Polian. After they got after Polian, he said he couldn't remember.
There it is, Bill Polian. Thank you. Like,
yeah, because he's kind of backtracked. He said, "Oh, I didn't start a anti-voting campaign." So here's my next question.
Bad.
Here's
It's
my next
embarrassing.
question for both of you guys, but more for MJ. First of all, is Brady going to catch some flack? Because Brady's got Spygate and Deflategate, which I think Deflategate's a joke. But
yeah,
is he gonna catch some flack for that?
Maybe I'm naive. I don't know if any of that cheating allegation crap has anything to do with this. I really don't.
I think
Yeah, I think it's more the last 3 to 5 years.
I think Spygate has a little bit to do with it. I don't think it's everybody, but I mean, I think Spygate was a legit problem. Now, I don't think it was a legit problem in the sense of, he got his punishment for it. Move on. You know what I'm saying? That should be all and done for.
When I hear Jimmy Johnson come out today and say, "Yeah, we filmed guys too. We just didn't get caught."
Exactly.
Like at the time it was obviously much bigger and probably blown a little bit out of proportion. And then Deflategate, as you said, same thing.
It's the same thing it's the same thing to me with the Astros with their cheating scandal.
Okay.
They got caught.
Sure.
They got caught. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
That's why everybody's been out of shape about it. They got caught.
Right.
Everybody was doing
The ball's
something.
the ball's being deflated. It's happening at every level, all the way down to high school. We did it. Everybody else did it.
And here's
it's
my
not
thing.
cheating. It's within the rules.
And here's my thing with the deflated footballs. Footballs are you give the footballs to the officials that you want to use for game balls at the start of the game, and they check these footballs. So if they're deflated to the point that they should be illegal, shouldn't the officials be kicking them out of the game?
Yeah, they should be caught.
That's what happened to us. They would send them out. They would send them back in. If they caught one, if we tried to put one in play that they felt like that's on the officials. That's not on them.
I mean,
I'm sorry. That was the dumbest thing ever. Now the Spygate was a little bit more because they filmed walkthroughs during the Super Bowl. That's a little bit more. But again, that was one of 9 Super Bowls. Is that correct? That he was responsible for?
Something like that.
8,
Yeah.
6 as the head coach of the Pats.
Which,
too, with
which, and
the
I think there's some discussion with Spygate that it went farther than just one game. That it was multi seasons.
Yep.
But still, I just think it's a case like you say. It's just like the Michigan thing. I mean, you got caught. Everybody's trying to get an edge. Somebody got caught.
I can see Coach Free's point too about the way he treated them being media folks as a
it's 100%.
And I'm grouping them into a whole. Don't get me wrong. The way he treated that industry, now it's their chance to get the last laugh.
So I was listening on the ticket coming up here, and they were playing the last time that they played Seattle in the Super Bowl, and he was, people were asking him questions related to this or that had nothing to do with game preparation, and his response to every question was Seattle.
Yep.
Seattle.
Yep.
Seattle. Basically, I mean, don't ask me any nonsense that's not related to Seattle. And that was his only answer was Seattle.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Yes.
Marshawn Lynch style.
So my other question to that
it
is,
goes back to why are these people allowed to vote on this? This doesn't tell the story.
If you're that petty about that, then you probably shouldn't be allowed.
So another Patriot question real quick while we're on this. So, and we talked a little bit about this in text. Jerry's in the Hall of Fame.
Jones.
Why is it Robert Kraft in the Hall of Fame?
Is it the same thing? Is it the extracurriculars? That
now you could argue Jerry's in there more because he's a businessman than he is a winning owner. But I think if you make that argument, Robert Kraft has brought just as much business acumen to the NFL as anything, and he's won 9 titles.
I think the better question there is how us as Cowboys fans, why are we not storming the gates of the Bastille? Because New England won more than we ever did, tore it all down, figured out that it sucked, tore it all down again and started over, and within 3 years is back to a Super Bowl, and we are still sitting here with the stupidest decision-making and stupidest problems and can't get out of our own way to even every team has competed in the conference championship, not even the Super Bowl, the conference championship sooner than we have by like 15 years.
I think you said it right there. First of all, today is the 30-year anniversary of the last time the Cowboys won the Super Bowl, which is also the last year they played in a title game, and even a championship game. But you said it right there. They were willing to tear it down and rebuild back up. I've read some stuff on Twitter this week that a lot of Steeler fans complaining that, why are we okay with 10-7, 9-8, whatever. Why are we okay with that every year when we really need to tear down and start over? But I think your point is perfectly dead on. It's hard to rebuild without tearing down, I guess is what I'm trying to say. There's a few teams
being in the middle is the worst place to be.
I mean,
in the middle is the worst.
There's a few teams that have done it. I think the Rams have done a good job of staying relevant without ever actually completely tearing down. Now, how much longer will that last? I don't know. But the Broncos are another example. The Broncos completely tore it down to the studs and built it back up, and look how quickly they kind of got it turned around too.
you MJ, you asked and you said we talked about this that I dropped on y'all at the end of last week about coaches versus the jobs. Just so you know, and we're not ready to drop this as a whole segment, but I asked AI to rank the jobs based on rank the 32 jobs based on the last 5 years, quarterbacks, roster, ownership, all of those things. And it came up with 7 tiers of jobs.
Oh wow.
And I'll just read the tiers to you.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you the ranking, but I'll read you the tiers of jobs. Tier 1 is the elite low drama title ready jobs. Tier 2 is strong jobs with real expectations. Tier 3 is good jobs, but with questions. Tier 4 is workable, but very challenging. Tier 5 is talent, but organizational noise.
Cowboys.
Tier 6 is rebuild and pressure cookers. And Tier 7 is hardest jobs in the league.
All right,
Where do the Cowboys fall?
Yeah, I'm curious where Dallas. Is it 4 or 5?
It's 5, talent, but organizational noise.
Yeah.
Now, again, remember, this is the last 5 years. I gave it the criteria of the last 5 years, not the last 3.
So, Reed, what was the first one again?
First one is elite, low drama, title ready.
So,
here are the 3 teams. There are 4 teams in that tier.
Okay.
Kansas City, San Francisco, Philadelphia, and Buffalo. Those are the 4 teams that are elite, low drama, title ready.
I think the low drama part for Philadelphia is a little wrong, but other than that, I mean,
but again, that's this last year. Here's tier 2. Again, remember, I gave it 5-year window to critique this. Tier 2, strong jobs, real expectations. Baltimore, Denver, Green Bay, Los Angeles Rams.
Okay.
Here's tier 3, good jobs with questions. Okay. Good jobs with questions.
Buffalo's in
it lists Miami, the Dolphins job in here, Detroit, Cincinnati, and Tampa Bay. Okay, that's tier 3. Tier 4, workable but challenging, Pittsburgh, Seattle, Minnesota.
Still haven't heard New England.
I haven't heard Buffalo either.
Buffalo's in tier 1.
Oh, were they? I missed them. I'm sorry.
Talent 5, tier 5, talent but organizational noise. Okay, it lists the Jets there.
Ugh.
It lists the Chargers there and Jacksonville.
Where are the Patriots, my guy?
So you're not going to like this, but it's not factoring in this last year.
Sure.
Tier 6 is rebuilds and pressure cookers. Chicago. So the Bears, Falcons, Cardinals, Commanders, Giants, Raiders, Saints, all of those things they tagged ownership issues, cap problems, quarterback uncertainty.
ChatGPT.
And then league's hardest jobs. Remember, it says hardest jobs, not worst jobs. Hardest jobs.
Hardest.
It has
Cleveland.
Titans, Colts, Patriots, Texans, Panthers, Browns.
Huh. So the team.
It says hardest,
So you said this is pre-2025 season.
Yep.
Yep. And so it said short leashes, unclear direction, or constant reset buttons.
Look, AI is not the
So
end all
and the
be
only
all,
it did say besides the Patriots, the post dynasty reality that you had to figure that piece out.
Sure. But even as of last year, I guess we didn't know how good Drake May could possibly be, but they had who they thought was the guy. They did just fire a coach after 1 year, so that certainly falls into part.
What was it? They only won 4 games last year.
Correct.
In that
4
1 year.
games the last 2 years.
And in Belichick's last year, they only won 4 games.
Correct. 8 wins across.
So
2
again,
years.
remember they're
there's
taking
2
the
of your 5
totality
years right
of
there. And without looking it up, what were the Patriots like Belichick's last 3 or 4 years?
Well, they still had Tom Brady for.
Well, Brady's been gone since because COVID was the year he won the Super Bowl with the Bucks.
May with Mayo, and then it would have been Cam Newton Mac Jones with Belichick. Before that, it was Cam Newton with Belichick, and then had the 5th year that they're counting for 2020. I don't remember. Was it? I don't even know who it was. But it wasn't. I mean, they made the playoffs one time.
There were 2 years of Mac Jones. 2 years of Mac Jones.
So then the first year that they're accounting for on that last 5 years would have been the Cam Newton year. So yeah, I mean, not great. Interesting.
It's interesting. It's an interesting exercise.
And then, you know what's even more interesting? They're probably going to jump from what, 7 to tier 3 if once you tell
Oh yeah.
ChatGPT to include what happened this year. Like, that's wild.
Oh yeah, because you've now got a stable coach, you've got the quarterback situation figured out, and you're on the rookie contracts on
Yeah.
some of your best players
That's
here.
crazy.
It
That's
totally flips.
Yeah, I like that. Now, look at you using ChatGPT.
Now
Coach
here's
Free.
my question, and MJ, I want you to give it I want you to not be a homer here.
Okay.
Are the Patriots sustainable?
Well, what Grant just said is huge, meaning the rookie contract of the quarterback. I mean, San Francisco went through that with Brock
Right.
Purdy. Like, once you had to pay him, it becomes a lot more difficult. Are they sustainable? In the grand scheme of things, how were the Patriots sustainable for the Brady dynasty? A lot of the time, they got guys who were, let's say, under the radar, i.e., the undrafted free agents.
Right.
But they also got guys to take pay cuts when they needed.
Randy Moss.
Yep, right. Even Tom Brady at the end. Like, so is it sustainable? Are guys going to do that the same way they did? I don't know. Maybe not. But let's look at it this way, right? Like, Coach Free talked at the beginning of this segment, we started talking about the Patriots. Like, you know, you're ahead of schedule, quote unquote, ahead of schedule. Might as well win it now. Like,
Right.
is that what they thought about Aaron Rodgers when he gets to one
And
and
that's,
never
Yeah,
gets
but
back?
and that's the reason I asked that is because
It's hard.
Because you look at the Commanders last year. The Commanders had a great season last year. They benefited from a if it wasn't a last place schedule, they benefited from a softer schedule. And I take
Most
nothing away from
definitely.
that. You win the games that are on your
Most
schedule.
definitely. Yep.
The Patriots took advantage of a bit of a softer schedule this year.
Yep.
The Commanders this year had a tougher schedule.
Didn't
and
do
then,
very
and
well.
then Daniels got hurt. They had a lot of things that went against them.
Yep.
So I just wonder. I look at them and the Bears kind of with the same microscope because I think the Bears. I'll be interested to see what the Bears do next year since they've got a little bit of a target on their back now.
In the comparison of those two, though, the Commanders were the oldest team in the league last year and this year, as opposed to the Patriots on the younger side. I think the question really, I think the answer to your question is more so in the landscape of the AFC.
Fair.
It looks like the Chiefs. It looks like the Chiefs are now taking a step back and have to somehow reload and retool around Mahomes and graduate some of these people out, including possibly Andy Reid at some point. Pittsburgh is still in that middle of the road, don't have a quarterback, not sure what they're doing. Baltimore is now going through a coaching change. Buffalo is now going through a coaching change. So if you look, you're looking at the contenders to really move up a level, like the Patriots, would be the Jaguars and the Denver Broncos, and possibly the Chargers. I think there's some
Definitely.
stability there with coach and
Right.
quarterback. That's totally different than what has been over the last 5, 7, 9 years. And so can they? I think yes, they can, because they have the coach and the quarterback right, and they have the coach and the quarterback right on young deals where they've got some cap space to move some people in and out. What happens with those reloads from Baltimore, Buffalo, and the Chiefs? I'm not sure, but there's going to be a change in the guard here, and it's probably more similar. Like you've got to ask yourself, well, what happens in that conference more so than what can they do?
Fair. Yeah. And obviously you look at the division, not just the conference, the division. Buffalo's listed on tier 1 of ChatGPT's thing, right? Like, Buffalo's going to be good, right? It's probably the Patriots and Buffalo again. You know, the Dolphins and the Jets right now are just way, way not on the same level. But you look around the conference, yeah, I think that's an accurate assessment of the way it goes. Now, I think most people would tell you the NFC is in front of the AFC by, I don't want to say considerable margin, but a little bit.
So let me ask you guys
And
this
also
question.
something under the radar here is how the Bills poo-pooed this coaching thing, kind of like the Cowboys did. I mean, totally poo-pooed it. Fired a guy to hire somebody that was sitting in the building,
Yeah.
like a total panic. And Joe Brady in nowhere, in no other room, the same as Brian Schottenheimer was considered for any head coaching jobs.
Chad, what were you going to say?
So here was we talked a little bit about building it down or tearing it down to build it back up. Where do you guys see a team like you mentioned the Chiefs? Where do you see a team like, because obviously when you've got Mahomes around, you're not going to tear it completely down to the studs. So can they get back on top without tearing it down?
I think they have had to somewhat tear. I think their teardown's a little different. I think it's salary maneuvering for them
Right.
always since he signed the big deal. I think it's. I don't think that. Let me say this in another way. They have not been the same since the rookie iteration of him. Now they've won Super Bowls since, but they've been a totally different team, more based on defense than on offense.
Right.
And they've when he was coming up in the rookie deal, they had people all over the place and they're scoring 50 points a game. This iteration of it, they've got to go back and build back on the defensive side. Everybody's been so worried about him having weapons. That's not relevant to their success. The relevance to their success was the fact that their defense was horrible this year, absolutely pathetic this year. And so if they don't build that back up, they can't contend because again, the Chargers and the Broncos right now in their division are better than them.
Mm-hmm. And Mahomes coming off ACL, right? Like that's going to be 9 months. So
Correct.
I would say
Correct.
2026 fall into 2027. I don't think they're necessarily a contender.
I guess where I'm getting at is I look at him as being the closest thing we've got to a Brady.
Yes.
In the sense of he won so much young. He may kind of disappear for 2 or 3 years, but I don't know that we've seen the end of Patrick Mahomes as a Super Bowl contending quarterback. I guess is what I'm trying to get at.
And I think this is where that answer's got somewhere we've got to find this answer of him and Brady because Brady, it's the same thing. Those after his rookie deal kind of wore off, and then he had the knee thing. He really elevated the level of the offense, but the defense was the story of those teams all the time. But he took guys out of position and he made them better. He made them into something that they weren't. The line was always good. They saved money on the running backs and the receivers, and that hasn't worked with Mahomes as in the same way. Let me put it that way. In the same way, Brady elevated the Danny Woodheads, the Amendolas, the Welkers, where Mahomes has taken Xavier Worthy, Sky Moore, some of these guys, and done fine with them, but not elevated them to that level.
Brady tore his ACL, I want to say 06, missed most of 07, came back in 08 and threw for 1,002 yards with Randy Moss. So, and the Patriots lost. They went 15-1, the last final game of the year against the New York Football Giants. All right, guys, we got 5 minutes left. Let's talk about our trademark segments. What are we doing?
What are we doing? What are we doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Coach Free, this clip says it all. What are we doing?
Oh,
What are we doing? Okay, so Chad said this in our group chat, and I didn't even know it was happening. Live on Netflix, this gentleman's name is Alex Hanold. He scaled a building in Taipei, Taiwan, which is the 11th tallest building in the world in heavy winds. He did it in an hour and 31 minutes with no rope. They call this free climbing, free solo climbing.
I'm not climbing with a rope.
What are we doing? Netflix broadcasted on television. This is life or death.
He's the guy that did Free Solo, the where he scaled El Cap,
Yes.
like with nothing like that. That guy's got some serious issues.
Agreed.
He's got some serious
Look at
something
this.
else.
What are we doing?
But again, to me, we literally were going to show him dying on live TV. Like,
Yes.
you got to be kidding me with that.
So I actually read an article about this because I was so. Once Chad told me about it and I saw a clip on social, I'm like, what do you mean this was televised? Like, this had to have not been real. I read an article. Basically, without going into too much of the behind the scenes on it, apparently, this is a time lapse, by the way. Apparently, this guy is so good at free climbing. Like, if you every free solo is rated like 1 to 10, and he is like an expert 10. This climb was apparently rated like a 7 or something. So Netflix basically was comfortable airing it because they said this guy's skill level compared to the skill level of this climb, as daunting as it may look, was such a disparate like difference that they were very unconcerned that this man would
I've
fall
got to
and die.
believe, first of all, there was just a little bit of a delay, at least just enough of a delay that if something bad happened, they could get out.
Probably legally, right?
Now,
Can you say that again? That was a 7?
Well, I'm using like numbers, round numbers here, because it's a real scale that they use in climbing, where it's okay. So like the 5-part grading system used to rate the difficulty, beginners can handle a 5.0 to 5.6. The experts can break into the 5.11 to 5.12, with the world's hardest climb being a 5.15. And like, so let's say this guy is like his rating is 5.11. This was rated as like a 5.8 or whatever. I'm using round numbers.
I'm not even climbing at Mineral Wells State Park.
I ain't climbing anywhere with a rope, as you said.
I had problems climbing the stairs to my office in Wichita Falls.
That ain't no lie.
So after speaking to people in the media space, it can be broken down as follows. 1, Hanauld did not think the climb was that hard. He would have done it for free. They paid him $500,000, by the way. And number 2, Netflix felt there was an arbitrage between the perceived risk on television and the actual risk that Hanauld faced, creating a risk-reward surplus in their favor.
So I ask you guys, what's the difference in this and the tightrope guy that's always on, that has ABC specials about once every 2 years, that does a live tightrope across
the Grand Canyon,
yeah. or even the Knievels when they used to jump canyons and stuff like that. I mean, people love to watch that stuff.
Probably nothing different. It's probably like the risk is X, but this dude's qualification is Y, which means.
Now, I'll be honest with you, MJ.
Risk.
So I saw that going. So my ADHD, I didn't sit and watch him climb for an hour and a half. I saw him going, and I was like, well, this is interesting. But then I was like, I'm going to go watch something else. And then we came back to it.
Apparently, this was a not very difficult climb.
I mean, it doesn't look like it's that difficult for him.
What are we
This is
doing?
not that difficult to climb.
I don't even want to be the. I don't even want to be the dude.
Issued.
I don't even want to be the dude that's on the rope that's videoing him
Yes,
over there.
you see that person over there? Oh my goodness gracious! The clip of him. This must be a drone or a whatever. Him at the top, and it's windy. Like, you guys ever been to like any of those? I guess like Reunion Tower in Dallas is not nearly as high, but it's the same concept. Up in Toronto, I forget what it's called. I've been to the top of that thing with like the glass floor.
Where it kind of sways a little bit?
Yes.
The Stratosphere in Las Vegas was mine. The only one I've been up in.
That right there. I'm pausing that. What are we doing?
Yeah, don't ever show me this again.
All right, we're over
This
an
is
hour.
banned material on the free-for-all.
We are an hour and 2 minutes. I'm going to get yelled at.
For those of you at KFDX,
I need
watch
to
for
understand these people yelling at you.
For those at KFDX, watch out for falling ice the next few days.
Yeah, we have a tower, which nobody has climbed without a rope, to my knowledge. And that tower, when it snows, collects ice. And then when it melts, that ice falls.
In spears.
And may or may not smash your car up, or your person, or the building. All of the above is possible. That's what happens when you have a building at the base of a... How tall do you think that thing is, Chad?
1,200 feet, I believe, is what it is.
1,200-foot tower.
I could be wrong. I think that's right, though.
Coach Free, if I paid you $500,000, would you climb that thing without a rope?
Not even a little bit.
Okay.
What were you saying, Grant?
You could pay. You could say whatever number you'd like to say.
Don't matter.
Grant was asking something about being yelled at.
Why are people yelling at you, MJ?
They don't actually yell. We're supposed to fit within a 1 hour time block when this show airs on the KFDX Plus app. And when it goes over an hour, that screws up the programming schedule.
Good. I like screwing stuff up.
Do us a favor, follow us on socials, Facebook, The Free-for-All Pod, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Free4All_pod. This has been episode number 84 of the Free-for-All. As I said at the top, the weather might not be good, but the podcast always is, gentlemen. Thanks so much for coming in on your snow day. No school in Burnett, no school in Wichita Falls, no games for MJ to go out and shoot and get highlights of, but we're still here bringing the people what they want. It's episode 84 of the Free-for-All. We'll be back next week, episode 85. We've got a lot to talk about, including realignments in the, in the NFL, in the UIL, as Texas high school football teams figure out what district they're going to be playing in over the course of the next couple of years. All right, folks, we'll see you next week. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll catch you back here next time on the Free-for-All.
I got me a rock and roll band, it's a free-for-all.